Hi, this is Chris. Today I'm going to do the last 2 weeks in Margarete Miller's Collage Weekly Planner for 2022. And so that would be weeks 51 and week 52. So first I'm going to pull out all the pieces that I need. So on 51, origami or any type of folded paper. I have this vintage tracing paper, a scrap, that I'm going to fold. Anything that starts with a G. In here I have chosen this geisha, an herb or a fragrant plant. I have some lavender from my garden. I have this one, which is Provence, a French lavender. And I have this one, which is Madrid, a Spanish lavender. So I have some lavender for my herb or fragrant plant. An illustration. I thought I might use one of these flowers here. Text in a language that is not your native language. I have this book that was published by a friend of the family many years ago. And it was written for businessmen in Taiwan who were planning to work in America or be assigned to America, and this was to help them understand American culture. So he used a lot of jokes like these cartoons and stuff, Family Circus magazine and other magazines, although I'm sure he probably didn't realize he was breaking some copyright regulations. But there are some nice blocks of text in here. So I'll use some text from that. And then washi tape. I don't have a large collection of washi tape, but when I was visiting with my neighbor, who is also a crafter and an artist, she had this quite a bit of this washi tape, so she let me have some of that, so I can use that. For week 52, I need a definition, and a couple years ago, I made this scan of the definition of ephemera. And I used it in another project and I remembered it, so I'm going to use that in this project. A postage stamp. I have several postage stamps here. I picked out neutral postage stamps. These were from my grandmother's collection. Something you are thankful for. I'm thankful for the family history that my grandmother told me about when I was younger and answering all my questions when I became interested in it. So I'm going to use this photograph from my family history as something I'm thankful for. A pair of something. I have these vintage milk coupons. Half-gallon homogenized milk, Dixon Dairy Products. That I got on Etsy. A piece of coloring book page. I have this piece of coloring book page that I just coffee dyed. It's still damp, so that needs to dry a bit. So I can put that here. And then the bonus is a photograph, so I'm combining the photograph with the family history. And so, as far as my family history goes, this is my great-grandmother and my great-grandfather, and they lived in England, but they met in China, and they married, and they had 4 children. The second one is my grandmother. And when I look at this picture of my grandmother, she reminds me so much of my niece, my brother's daughter. Okay, so I've gathered my pieces, and I'm going to cut out the ones that I need to cut out and start working on laying out these collages. I finished the last 2 collages. So here's week 51, origami or any type of folded paper. So I used some vintage tissue to make a water cup, and then put some of the fragrant herb or other plant, some lavender in there, and then sealed it up. Anything starts with G. I've got the geisha girl, I've got a gerbil, an herb or other fragrant plant, the lavender that's in this little pocket. It smells good. Text in a language that is not your native language or English. So I have quite a bit of this Chinese language, and some of this could be Japanese, but I think most of it's Chinese. It came from my China book, and these are what are called chops. And the bonus is washi tape, so that's what that is there. And then the last week, week 52, a definition. I have here a definition from dictionary, and it is for ephemera. Printed matter such as theater programs, posters, guidebooks, meant to be of use for only a short time but preserved by collectors. Postage stamp. I have a lot of postage stamps. These are all from my grandmother's collection, and they each have significance. My great-grandparents were born in England, so I have English stamps. They lived in China for 20 years, so I have Chinese stamps. On their way to Canada, they stopped in Japan, so I have Japan. They lived in Canada for the rest of their lives. And my great-grandmother's brother emigrated to Australia, so I added Australia for that. So this is my great-grandfather, my great-grandmother, and this is my grandmother when they lived in China. Something you're thankful for. Family. Put here family. In family history, my grandmother told me a lot of stories about her growing up in China and then homesteading British Columbia, and then she finally moved as a nurse. She took a job in California, and that's where she met my grandfather. A pair of something. I have these vintage ephemera here, these milk tickets. A piece of coloring book. The background is a piece of coloring book. This was from my mother's batch of coloring books. She enjoyed doing that. And the bonus is the photograph that I just told about. And that's week 52. So what I would like to do here is to add a chop. As I said, these here are chops. And so I have my grandmother's chop. She went to Taiwan, it was many years ago now, to attend the wedding of a very good friend. He was Taiwanese. And they made her a chop. And so what they do is they take your name and they use Chinese characters to put your name phonetically. So I have no idea how that would be pronounced or what the actual meaning would be, but it represents her name phonetically. And she was given that, she was made that special so she could sign his wedding certificate because she was his unofficially adopted mother. She helped support him. And years ago I took Chinese brush painting classes, and I have in here a chop that I had made for myself. And when I was taking the Chinese brush painting classes, the teacher offered us to get our own chop made. So that is my chop. That I can put that on my paintings. But what I'm looking for in here is the ink, because this ink is dried up, and it's a very pasty, gooey kind of ink. So I'm going to try it out on something. I need a piece of paper. So I'm going to try my grandmother's chop. I don't know which way is right side up or upside down. And these inks are pretty old, so I'm not sure if they're really going to work. Like that one's completely dried up. Oops. I could probably buy new ink online. And you can probably order your own chop online. That's a little better. It needs something softer under it. Something cushiony. Let's try this. A piece of felt that I use for stamping now and then. Pretty good. I don't know if I should try it on here or if I should just cut that out and try that. Oh, that one came out pretty good. I should put my own chop on there too, to show the continuity of family. Oh, that one came out good. And they also gave my grandmother another chop, and this one has her name written in English. It's pretty small. I wonder if this ink feels pretty good. So that's a little piece of my family history that I think is kind of interesting. So I'm going to cut these and add them to my collage. And now I'll just do a quick flip through of the entire 52 weeks, and I'll speed it up. Thanks for watching and have a great day collaging. Bye bye. See you next year.